Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Path of the Corpse Eater Barbarian in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a mod that was made by Havsglimt here, and it's based on Pillars of Eternity. If you don't like how it sounds in the tin here, you probably won't like this subclass, as it is based on doing exactly what the subclass name is, to be able to heal yourself and rage. Now, it does have a lot of fun and unique abilities, as there's no class in Baldur's Gate 3 that really can sustain themselves by taking out enemies. So if you like that style of play where you're constantly draining your health down and trying to keep it up, this is a good class for you. Now, we're going to start off with the Barbarian here, and you can really go about your stats if you prefer dexterity or strength here. Now, I really like to play dexterity-based characters, so I'm going to go with this stat spread. If you really want to min-max, it'd be dumping your strength, putting those points in intelligence, and using a strength potion. But I'm going to go with a stat spread like this. You can swap these if you prefer having higher strength. Level 2 gives us our Danger Sense, giving advantage on dexterity saving throws, and Reckless Attack, giving ourselves advantage on attacks. But the enemies will have advantage against us. Now, our subclass here is the Path of the Corpse Eater, often loathed by their enemies. Corpse Eaters consume the flesh of the fallen to gain their powers. Often misunderstood outside of your community. And yeah, you get yourself the Flesh Communion here, which will heal you, consuming one corpse nearby to enter a state of rage, healing yourself for an amount equal to twice your Barbarian level. So yeah, this can get pretty crazy if we go up to level 20, obviously. And we do have some different abilities later on, which opens things up so that we can consume some different types of corpses. Again, if you don't like how that sounds, probably other classes to play. But I do know some people like this kind of style play. So next up, I think the best thing to get is initiative early on, but you can go with a dexterity increase here, which will in turn increase your dexterity. But I prefer to have my martial classes going quick and fast, because once you hit level 5 with the extra attack, they can clean up combat pretty quickly. And no pun intended, you're going to be cleaning them up. There'll just be bones left by the time you're done with the enemy. You also get the fast movement here, which gives us a little bit more movement speed to get around and clean up the corpses. Level 6, we also get a subclass feature, Death Banquet. So the stench of undead no longer deters you. You realize the residual power that lies within the rotten flesh. You may now consume undead corpses. Yummy! And these are now going to poison you for 1 round and only grant you half the health points, as, I mean, you can expect eating a undead corpse is not going to be very good and nutritious. They do not have very high protein content. And yeah, I don't recommend doing this at all, ever, in any capacity. Just clarify that. But yeah, you get poison now whenever you eat the undead corpses. So you can do that if you'd like. Level 7 gives us our Feral Instinct, giving us a +3 to initiative. I guess you didn't really need to take the initiative there, but I like just having it early on. It's the hard part of the game is the early game. And again, having a martial class go first will sometimes allow you to make another character in your team go first before the enemies do and deal damage. But our level 8 feat here, I'd recommend going with our attack stat. So if you spec into strength, go with a strength increase. Savage Attacker is also a nice feat. Since we're going to level 12, we do get a good amount of, or level 20, we do get extra feats. So that is nice too. Brutal critical, extra critical hit die. Great. Don't have to explain that one. Level 10 gives us Spirits of the Fallen. Consume a nearby corpse to channel the Spirit of the Fallen, grant you temporary health points, and 1 of 3 effects depending on the channeled spirit. So we can get the Warrior Spirit, giving a +2 bonus to attack rolls and damage for 10 turns, or the Hunter Spirit, which will give us advantage on stealth and perception checks, although stealth advantage is really easy to get in this game. There's also the Sage Spirit, which will give advantage on intelligence checks, which are Arcana, History, Nature, Religion, until your next long rest, and you can use this twice per long rest. Warrior Spirit, going to be your best option. Getting +2 to attack and damage rolls is really nice. We also get Relentless Rage at level 11 here. Whenever we get down, we stand back up with 1 health point. It's great. Level 12 gives us our final feat. Now, Savage Attacker is just a really good feat to take because this will allow you to reroll your damage die. I'm also a fan of Tavern Brawler. Barbarians just sometimes are nice to have the Nirona weapon on them, but you don't have to go that route. I think Savage Attacker works fantastic, and also an ability score improvement on dexterity can work too if you prefer going that route. Level 13 gives us our... So again, you can stop at level 12 or we can go to level 20. I'll show you all the abilities here. Whenever you take a Barbarian past level 13 here, you do get extra critical hit die twice, which is really nice. Level 14 gives us our subclass ability, Fleshbound Ascendant. So you feast on the dead so long that their essence has become a part of you. When you use your Flesh Communion, the lingering power surrounds spirits surge through the allies within 9 meters of you, giving them temporary health points equal to their level, and nearby enemies may become frightened for 2 rounds. So yeah, pretty good. Big buff for the team and scares the enemies. Furthermore, when raging, you regain health points equal to your Constitution modifier at the start of each of your turns, and your next melee attack will deal an additional 2 to 12 necrotic damage. What's cool about that is since we're healing ourselves, there's a lot of gear that'll proc off of that, so we can actually set ourselves up with a number of buffs. Pretty fun stuff. Level 15 gives us our, we basically won't fall out of rages now. Level 16 gives us another feat. At this point, going with tough to increase our overall health is always nice. And then you can drop your armor class really low and just become, that's actually probably the best way to play this, oddly enough, is to go with a, go with the tough feat to give yourself a ton of health. We are going to rage and take half damage, heal ourselves after consuming corpses. It's probably ideal to do it that way. You can also add in Tavern Brawler again, because the Barbarian just feels right with the throwing, although it doesn't have any specifics for throwing. You can also go with an increase to your attack stat, so dexterity or strength, depending on what you chose. I'm going to add on the tough feat, because I just think it's great to have a tanky Barbarian, and health as a resource. Level 17 gives us that extra crit die on our attack, so we would like to spec around crits, if possible too. Level 18 just gives us some extra health here. 19 will give us our final feat. And there's a few selections. You could actually go also with the Great Weapon Master, since we're actually going to be able to get bonuses to our attack rolls pretty easily. This can be offset really well, and we also can get advantage on our attacks. Level 20 just gives you infinite rage charges, so yeah, that's cool, but not really that crazy of a difference. When a game like this, you long rest often. And the outfit for the video here was the Balls by Bride gown, from the Celestial Threads mod. But now for gear from the base game, we have lots of great options. Early game helmets. Haste helmet's great for the increased movement speed. You could actually ride out the entire game with that. The Scabby Pugilist circuit also will give us increased damage whenever we're surrounded by multiple enemies. And since we took great weapon fighting, we can also take the Mask of Soul Perception, give us a bonus to our attack rolls, so that we're more likely to land our big attacks. We also got the Cloak of Protection here, giving a +1 to armor class. You can use the Deathstalker Mantle. Cloaks are really your own choice. Now, the reason I like to take Tavern Brawler on a build like this is we can also get the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation here, which gives us the Greater Kashigo counter, so we can use a reaction attack that's not going to do a lot of damage unless we do take Tavern Brawler, but this is just going to be the best armor because we get a bonus to our armor class, and we can heal ourselves using it. And then this also sets us up to also be able to use the Bracers of Defense, adding a +2 to our armor class. This takes up to 26. We get a +4 from our dex, +6 from Constitution, 1 from the ring, 2 from the vest, 1 from the cloak, and 2 from Become the Bulwark, which is from these gloves here. We also got the Hell Dust gloves on, but there's boots if we really wanted to increase our armor class. We also don't have to go with an armor class increase. We're actually going to show you another choice that we can go with. There's a few really good specs. And the Crater Flesh gloves actually work very well here, since we are going to be doing a ton of extra damage on critical hits. We may as well go fishing for them and add additional damage on top of it. We also can take the Helldusk boots here, which will give us increased movement basically by ignoring difficult terrain. And when we fail a saving throw, we can succeed it. This is not the needed option here. I like to have the Disintegrating Nightwalkers in the early game as well. And Evasive Shoes can work for the bonus to armor class, which we want to survive a little bit more. Now, I really like this Sword of Chaos here, because on hit we get 1 to 6 health back. We can become very tanky between healing ourselves. That's why I like mentioning you could drop our armor class even lower and then focus mostly on just going for crits, absorbing attacks for our team, and regaining our health through using the corpses or our Sword of Chaos. If you're going to use this Sword of Chaos, we can actually get 6 health back per attack if you use a periaptic wound closure, which will maximize every single heal roll. And if you get down, you'll stand back up, but we already have an ability to basically do that. If you want to be the most powerful tank, that'd be the way to do it. I'm going to use this to give us a higher armor class, but we can also throw on things like Sethin, the Hellfire Hand Great Axe, although you can't use his ability when we're raging. And if we want to spec fully into like throwing, you could go with like the you can go with the Helldusk gloves here, which will oddly enough add a 1d6 and bleed onto your attacks. There's a Ring of Flinging, and then Niralna works as well for weapons. I expect into Dexterity, so Fowler Lou is probably one of the better choices here, or I am using a Strength Potion to maximize the damage rolls on that. But you can use the Dancing Breeze here, which is a really fun weapon because it comes with its own whirlwind attack there that you can do per short rest. And it's a finesse-based weapon with extra reach, so it'll proc Great Weapon Master while using your Dexterity. It's actually a pretty fun weapon here, and I think this is nice. It also looks like a big knife, so yeah, you're great at eating if you got a big knife. And I also have the Hell Rider Lombo because the early bird gets the worm. With that +3 to initiative, we're going to get a lot of worms. We also got the Shadow Cloaked Ring there to increase our damage. Since we kind of work from the shadows, not really, but this is a very generous ring. And then we also get the Killer Sweetheart because our critical hits are going to send them flying. So the damage from those is crazy, and we want to be able to proc at least 1 or 2. If you got the Lithid ability for the free cast, that's great too. And the Amulet of Greater Health just to give us some survivability. And once we get ourselves into combat, we need a rage. But the good thing about this is our rage is going to heal us quite a bit, so we can actually go about with dealing damage first. But as simple as Flesh Communion here, what's funny is if there's like civilian corpses there, poor things, yeah, they frightened all these enemies nearby, perfect, and then we can just go into our attacks here. So that ate up our bonus action. We can just go into attacking here. Critical hits are going to do insane amounts of damage, but we don't even need to do crits because great weapon fighting is going to add a good amount of damage to that. So we did 29 slashing damage, which is adding that 1d10 reroll, and then it also adds our strength modifier, great weapon master, and the 4 bonus points from rage. So yeah, we do some pretty good damage. We don't have a bonus action this turn, otherwise we would get the special attack there. We were going to roll a critical miss here. Now this is a good chance to either use reckless attack or executioner. I'm going to use executioner for a free crit. Ooh, 52, 20, and 19 damage. So our weapon is normally a 1d10, we get a 2d10, and then we got brutal critical 3, which then adds another 3d10 on top of that. And then our necrotic damage is a 4d6. And the crazy thing is brutal critical adds damage dies onto that bonus necrotic damage that we got from raging, and also the bonus damage that we got from the crater flesh gloves, which did 19 damage. Insane. It's normally a 1d6, which becomes a 2d6, which then adds, it becomes essentially a 5d6 and rerolls it all, plus a 10. It's crazy. And the best part about this class is we don't have to get too close if we're using a long range weapon like this, and we can pull off some crazy numbers again. 51, 24, 19. Again, turning that 1d6 into a 5d6 off of our gloves, and the 1d6 into another 4d6 here, and then our weapon adds 4d10. It's crazy. Now again, this is only for the barbarian if you're going to take them up past level 12, so in the base game, still very strong, getting some nice boost of crits. I'm actually going to roll the reckless attack. Turning a miss into a hit is worth it. When we have so much health, we have 305 health, and plenty of resources to recover it, so we actually want to be the one absorbing attacks if all possible. I do have the highest armor class right now. I really should have just dropped my armor class and maybe even not use the amulet. The amulet constitution will give you a crazy armor class, so I'd recommend, again, the parry after wound closure is probably the better choice to showcase here, just so that the enemies would attack me. They cast calm emotions on me. That's hilarious. So I get calmed. That sucks. And now they're going to try command grovel. They're not casting at me, so I'm just going to ignore that. Yeah, that's one of the downsides to this class, is that they're going to try and outsmart us with the like enchantment or mental kind of spells. So yeah, that's one thing to watch out for, but we don't need to rage particularly. We still deal damage even though we're not raging. It's just 4 points of damage we're missing out on. Nothing crazy. So yeah, we got our 6 health back on that turn. Pretty crazy stuff. I thought with advantage they would be targeting me a bit more. We'll just go ahead here and take out this target. And you can also decide if you want to keep your bonus action. I am actually calmed right now, so they outsmarted us here. This keeps us, if we're calm, we can't go and eat the flesh, so that sucks. We still have the Spirit of the Fallen, so I can pull on one of the Spirits of the Fallen to give ourselves a bonus, which is really nice. But yeah, I think that the best thing right now is to save our bonus action for just straight up attacking, because yeah, we want to take out the targets pretty quickly here, as a few of them have crowd control spells. Those are typically going to be your top priority targets. But you see, we do a lot of damage just with our melee attacks. Great weapon fighting, especially if you can pull off a critical hit, is pretty nuts. And we ran out of juice here, so yeah, we're stuck. All right, so I just did an attack off on that target there randomly. Cool. So we actually were able to end the concentration there, so we can go in. I do like the bonus action attack. I do think that's better in a lot of situations, but me hungry. So we're going to get ourselves some health. 40 health is absurd. And then our teammates also get that nice boost into 12 temporary health. So it's really good to just go around doing that for our action, despite wanting to put out damage. We're going to frighten targets, which is great for a bit of crowd control. And you can see there, we still do a ton of damage. Getting into a rage is kind of funny. I love the attack animations there. Yeah, the dancing breezes are really fun. 3 for 3. Let's go. Can we finish them off? Can we do it? And we did it. Wow, that was crazy. 4 for 4 there. So yeah, that is the Path of the Corpse Eater Barbarian in Baldur's Gate 3 by Havsglimt. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. We'll catch you all in the next video.